What's going on, everybody? I'm Phil Van Pelt, and you are watching Canescast. Excited to be back with everybody and talk some spring football, the coaching hires. We've been out of the loop for a little bit, but we're gonna start bringing you content every week if we can. I know football is gonna be a little slow, but we also got some pretty good basketball and baseball content. Obviously, both our Canes ladies and men are about to kick off March Madness. Super exciting. High expectations, especially on the guys' side. So I'm ready to roll, but Garrett's going to get us rolling with some football stuff first and talk about some of these hires we haven't been able to
Yeah, so
dissect yet.
first thing, let's start with we got a new offensive coordinator in Shannon Dawson. He's been at Houston. We got Tim Harris Jr. to be the running backs coach. He's been at UCF. We got Kevin Beard to come back and coach receivers again. He's been at Toledo the last couple of years. So then we got on the defensive side, we got Lance Guidry to be the defensive coordinator who was at Marshall. Then we got Coach Nicholson to come in and coach linebackers to replace Charlie Strong. And then we got Jason Taylor to step out of the analyst role where he was here in Miami last year to actually be a coach on the field. Officially, I think his title is defensive ends, outside linebackers. So thoughts are great hires. I really think Mario Cristobal saw that we were not anywhere near where we needed to be last year with what he had brought in the first year. Even though we were excited, they were big names, it was just not we're going to work. So I give him props for taking initiative, admitting really in some case defeat, and starting fresh. Let's get guys in here that want to coach the right way. Let's get them in here. They're going to be young and energetic and hungry. I think that's across the board where all the coaches are going to land in that aspect. Is every one of them's maybe going to prove themselves or really has hunger, desire, or innovation to do some good things. Shannon Dawson's offense I really liked at Houston. What you saw, their quarterback maybe ran the ball a little more than I think TVD will, but let's say, as you all know, that I'm a big Jakari Brown fan as far as athleticism. He's a big physical kid. He needs to develop his passing. Obviously, there was certainly some growth there that he needed to make. But as far as what the offense can be with him at the helm, I love that. I think TBD, I will give him the benefit of the doubt. Last year, having Ponce be his quarterback's coach, and then Gaddis trying to call plays and coach the receivers, where the receivers were extremely underdeveloped and underwhelming, that was just a bad dynamic. So let's say scrap the film from last year and let's say fresh. I think Dawson's a younger, hungrier, energetic guy. I think if you've seen the stuff coming out of the first week of camp, they all look like they're hungry. They all look like they're doing things that need to be done, developing, practicing hard, having fun. So that's huge. I really think TVD is going to excel this year with Shannon Dawson's offense. And then in Lance Guidry's case, it's hard to say. You look at the film and you know what to expect because our personnel is different than Marshall, one talent-wise, and guys like James Williams, a 6'5" safety. What kind of creative ways can he use that physical specimen? We got a great safety and All-American Cam Kinchins. Will he take the next step? I mean, certainly was a ball hawk last year. What can he do with that? The cornerbacks are really kind of all new, so can we stop giving up big plays? I really think that's the big key for Lance Guidry is come in, shore up a really underperforming defense as well. So, what are your thoughts, Phil?
First, I just want to touch a little on the defense just because ultimately I want to say that just because you bring in big names, I guess that's proof in the pudding that it's not always going to work out the way that you think it's going to work out. Just because they're a name doesn't mean they're going to be a big fit. We were all pumped. Excuse me, move my camera here a little bit. We were all pumped on Kevin Steele and Gaddis, and obviously it went up in flames. The thing is it can't get to me. It can't get any worse. I love the attitude you're talking about with Guidry. And I mean, what did we were 126 last year in plays of 60 yards or longer in the country. It's bad. You can't give that up. And gave up 40 points in 5 games. So, I mean, Marshall was a top 5 defense. I know you said point to Notre Dame. Everybody, they're going to point to their schedule in general, but this guy obviously knows how to get the most out of the talent. And bottom line, we're going to have more talent at Miami. Now he's going to build this defense to me needs to be built around Leonard Taylor, and it needs to be built around those safeties. Like the line, everything got to go through Taylor. And then in the back end, Kitchens as an all, he's an All-American and he's an AP. He's a preseason All-American again. This guy's gonna be a first-round draft pick. James Williams and Leonard Taylor were both 5-star recruits in 2021. Get the most out of these guys and grow that defense because there's just no reason. I mean, as much as we get frustrated with not scoring points, Miami getting beat defensively just it should kill every Canes fan in the world because for so long, I mean, what was it? All our glory days, it was hard hitting, it was bust stick. I mean, you know what it is, hit stick, but so I'm not going to necessarily, go into it right now. Obviously, just keep this PG right now, but, that's got to change because that sets the tone. The turnover chain did that for a while. Good, obviously he doesn't want to roll with that train anymore. That's fine, but you got to be able to back it up in the field in some capacity. And I'm pumped about what we're getting back. And bottom line too, getting a lot of guys back from injury is going to be good. And I love in spring practice right now, or the games that we're seeing how pads are now, that we're seeing all the starters on the defensive line are not playing, which in a way I like because what those guys are going to bring. You know that they're going to get the reps, but that gives great reps to the backups right now to hopefully provide depth for us down the road. On the offensive side of things, it was just, I mean, what can we say? It was atrocious. It was atrocious. I mean, nothing worked with Josh Gaddis. You tried to blend systems with players that it didn't fit. We saw firsthand how good Tyler Van Dyke could be the year before with Rhett Lashley, and then just what it's like when you change stuff up. It just shows you cannot fit, a square peg in a round hole kind of thing. I mean, not everybody fits the system. And that's what we've talked about a lot with the NFL, right? Is for so long, you'd always see busts in the NFL. And one of my big things, and we've talked about this, is I feel like you're seeing less busts in the NFL on a higher level, like on a grand scale, like a Jamarcus Russell style bust than you see before. Now he was his own thing, but before they would take a guy and plug him and hopefully he works. So you're banking on hopefully this guy can figure out your system and it all comes together and becomes one. And then, you have your quarterback, but now they're building around the quarterback strengths and you're seeing a lot more success. That's what you need to do in what's kind of always been done in college, but you saw the opposite with us last year. We didn't score points. The only reason we didn't beat Texas A&M was because we couldn't get the ball in the end zone once. Injuries all over the line to the quarterbacks. We know that played a big thing, but this whole smash mouth, this Big Ten style, it wasn't working. It wasn't working. So he's going to bring the thing I love about Shannon Dawson is he's going to me, now it remains to be seen if it works. I hope it does, is an air raid style kind of mixed with that physical offense that Cristobal really wants. Ultimately, he wants to be able to drain the clock, run the ball, lean on the run game, which I love. You got to be able to do that too, a smash mouth football. But look at what Tyler Van Dyke did. He was excited for Van Dyke when he came in. He talked about best quarterback in the country, and we know Van Dyke has that arm talent. You and I have little differing opinions on Van Dyke, but we know that he has a crazy good arm. And give him the shot, give him the weapons, give him the opportunity to sling the ball around the field. Just give him that shot because I love what we have coming up. As far as Colby Young, I'd like to see Ladson in another year. Restrepo being back and healthy. We have weapons. Henry Parrish coming back. I know we lost Knighton, but he fumbled every game anyway. I miss his explosibility, but Don Chaney coming back, that's big. There's talent on this team. Obviously, the offensive line should be leaps and bounds better with Cohen and Lee from UCF and returning starters, guys from injury. But the bottom line is this, it seems at least now, when we were fooled last year, it seems like now we're going to be building something to the strengths of the players again. And that's the most important thing, to the strengths of the most important piece on the field, who's Van Dyke. Or if Van Dyke doesn't play, if he's hurt, he gets something like that, it's going to be Brown, right? So build the strengths around these two guys, whoever's in there, and let it flourish. Don't try to force something that's not working because we know how good it can work. We saw this offense score a lot of points and then the bottom fall out. So it's got to be somewhere. It's somewhere in between those things, right? I mean, we know that he can be good. And the best thing when I listen to Van Dyke talk after the first spring practice, he sounds pissed. He sounds like we don't want to do it. We're tired of losing. We don't want to go 5-7. That's embarrassing. He doesn't like that. And that at least says, that says a lot to me. So I'm excited about the coaching hire, but I'm excited about what this brings, for the players' success. I mean, that's really, and breeding this new energy into the team, breathing this new energy it's exciting. And again, it really,
so really just to go back to what we've seen and heard and read and stuff from the first week of camp, there's some energy. I really think the new coaches breathing new life is huge for the development of these guys. I think we got two coordinators, that are gonna put the guys in the right position, or find a way to play to their strengths. And that's just something that is absolutely necessary. Coaching is so important when you have talented guys and they aren't put in the positions or aren't feeling like they're being, you know, developed the right way. It hurts, and we've seen it in the recruiting, I guess, a little bit. The worst coach on the team last year, we had a real lackadaisical, let's say a real void in that room, and that's the receiver room. Guys like Colby Young, I love what we've seen. He's slimmed down. He says he wants to get quicker. Frank Ladson, it's got all the size and the talent. He just got to be put in the right position. So we got guys at X position. That tends to be your guy at the end of the formation, right on the line of scrimmage. He wants to be a bigger body so he can get past jams, and he's a big threat to go up and make plays on jump balls. We got guys to do that. And Isaiah Horton, you hear a lot of good things of that kid coming out of spring so far. Another big body. And then you got guys like Restrepo. He's Tyler Van Dyke's favorite receiver. So let's get that kid the ball. That was something that Shannon Dawson did really well last year. If you watch those games, is their best receiver, number one, Tank Dell, was all over the field. He was essentially their smaller slot speed guy. So can Xavier Restrepo, step in and have that kind of success? Shannon Dawson will find a guy and put the ball in that guy's hands. And that's something we really need, is these guys to show what they're capable of. And if they will put in the work, or, seem like they got the talent, he will get them the ball and allow them to make, big names for themselves. The running backs, we got Cheney coming back, like, you said. I think the running back room is really kind of more of the unknown. We really are going to have to lean on two younger guys that haven't even stepped on campus just yet. So we really got to get through spring with two guys, but they'll get a lot of reps. On the defensive side, I think we gotta develop linebackers. I really think we're struggling at linebacker last year. We need bigger guys, which they went out and did do a good job of recruiting. Got to put these guys in position to come downhill, make plays, be good physical players. The defensive line, we got to have guys step up. I think we've got talent on that side and in that position group especially. So let's see what Lance Guidry can do with that. Let's move him around, get him, standing up on the ends, like he kind of has alluded to. That's more his style, so the ends can kind of see what's going on in the backfield, but then come downhill and get the quarterback, or help with the run game. I'm excited to see what we can do in that side of the ball as well, because I really think Lance Guidry's excited. He's fiery. He's got personality. I think he'll be fun and do fun things for this program. So yeah, I really like the direction we're going. The coaches seem like this is a good step in the right direction.
I think the sky's the limit, and that's what it is for these guys. I want to show that. That's that proving ground. That's that we know we have these great recruits. We're going to have better talent at our disposal than I did before, where I was before. So, here's the thing. And people get enamored, when I said that earlier about the coaching staff too, get enamored with the big names, but small names all the time come up. Everybody started somewhere. So just because you're not the biggest name doesn't mean you can't coach. And to your point earlier about being on the same page, I mean, we see it in the NFL. When you have a fracture in the front office and the coaching staff between the two, there's usually dysfunction. Teams aren't functioning at their highest level. They're not working at a great pace, a great clip, because there's just that disconnect, and there needs to not be that disconnect. Everything needs to function as one. And that's where you're going to see the most success. That's what Alabama does well. It's what Georgia does well. It's what Clemson did well for a long time. And I think we're starting to see Clemson maybe start to kind of fall back a little bit. We'll see what happens with that. But that's what the best programs, and what, we used to do well, and we just out-talented everybody too. But, that's what the best programs do. So excited to see that. It was, everything start to kind of, the picture just start to clear up a little bit as we get closer and closer, and, more practices and actual, games with pads. I'm excited to see it. I want to say this out loud. I hope we see no injuries. Just as badly as we played last year, I don't think we can see as many injuries as we saw last year, because it's like, can we catch a break on some level, So I'm hoping that everybody stays healthy through the spring, and, we continue to see this blossom and grow. But I'm expecting bigger things this year than I was last year. Obviously, I was optimistic. Not as bullish as you with your predictions. I won't be that bullish probably as I was last year even, but I know, and there's a reason you were bullish. The talent is there. We saw what it was when the talent, had the right coaching staff, at least on offense, what this could work as, how well this could work, this offense could function. And no, we don't have Charleston Rambo coming back. No, we don't have Mike Harley, my boy Mike Harley. I loved watching Harley coming back. But we got guys that can take those reins, like you said, and step up. So now we can see it hopefully work with the right people and the right staff, and obviously the recruits we have coming in and continuing to have come in. This could be the start of something really special. And they need to stay special. They need to get special, because we're watching our basketball team be pretty special. And I want to touch on this real quick. We wanted to kind of do, two separate things. We're going to have some more shows for you guys too about basketball, but I just wanted to give the shout out, and we've given them the shout out before. Canes were the 5 seed in the Midwest, taking on Drake. I am super pumped. The Canes, we all know, I want to say this, be the first one to say this on here, that we know that with Norchad getting hurt, that's a big blow. Hope he's healthy. From what we can see, it's day by day. So the expectation is, thank goodness we drew a Friday, game 1 on Friday, gives them that extra day. But we all know if Norchad doesn't miss that game, we don't lose to Duke. Everybody's riding Duke. They're super high. Duke is talented. We know if Norchad plays, Duke doesn't win. We know who the better team is. There's no question Miami's the better team. Being outsized already. Norchad, though, they can't move him. They can't do anything with Norchad. He's too strong down low. We're outsized. He can't move him. They beat us in Duke. 2-point game when Isaiah Wong had his worst shooting game of the season. Fast forward to Miami, we beat the brakes off of those guys. When you see it clicking at a high level, when it's clicking, it's working. So if we get Norchad back, this team is scary. This is a team that's ready to make a run. Drake, I will say Drake scares me just because that first game, that 5-12 seed. I love the Indiana draw. I think we can beat Indiana. And Houston, Sassler's injured too. So if we end up drawing Houston on the top there, this is a bracket that's very winnable for Miami. Just like, though, I want to preface this, a couple years ago, 2016, 2017, when we went in and got with Lonnie Walker and Bruce Brown, our future first-round picks, got Cinderella by Loyola Chicago on their route to the Final Four, where that side of the bracket opened up perfectly for the Canes to make a big run. So anything can happen. The best team does not always win, but this Miami team is wicked good, and they're ready to. I mean, this team took everybody by surprise and went to the Elite Eight last year as a 10 seed. This team's better. We watched them all year. They're a top 25 team all year long. Final rankings came out. We came in at 16 and 15 for AP and coaches respectively there. But this team is good. If Norchad's there, the sky's the limit. I can't wait to see what they do. For our girls, same thing. I always feel it's a little harder to predict girls basketball. I feel like girls basketball, Canes drew a 9 seed, open up in Greensboro or not Greensboro. Names escape me right now. Anyway, playing against Oklahoma State in the 8-9 seed. I think Miami will win that game. But, girls basketball, it's always feels like there's
the women's side is just kind of more of the 1, 2, 3, 4 seeds are seemingly to be the ones at the end of the women's side. So, South Carolina, I think, was the champ last year. I would, suspect that the 1s, 2s, 3, 4 seeds are going to be what you're going to see at the end. But, hey, the Lady Canes, they got 2 great, girls. Let's hopefully they can put on and get hot and, make sure that we can have 2 teams sitting at the top of the tourney here this year, right?
So if Norchad plays, that's going to figure that out. That's going to work itself out. The Jordan Miller, the Rise matchup, 6'7" wing guards there that are their wings, but they both play guard for Drake and us. Obviously, it's that's a big matchup. That's a big matchup. But Miami should still. But it's madness, man. It's literally madness. That's that way for a reason. The ultimate equalizer is a team catching fire from 3. And if you're not on your game to match it, then your talent's not going to matter. We see it every year, and there will be upsets. I wouldn't be shocked. We see 2 seeds lose. We've seen a 1 seed lose once. a 2 seed might lose, a 3 seed. We see it every year, not every year for a 2 seed or a 3, but it's getting close every couple years, right? 4s, 5s, 6s, they all lose every year. And then they can win. It's madness for a reason. We just got to hope if we get out of this game, the run can start. It's that first game is really the one
Yeah, I
that
mean,
scares the
just
hell out of you.
let's touch on, since we're focusing on the coaching in this offseason on the football side, let's talk about Coach Larinaga. That guy has been awesome. I mean, he's from day one, the day he stepped in this program from the basketball side, he's done just exactly what you'd want a coach to do. He's really taken the program and pulled it, raised it up. I mean, as far as Miami being so successful in basketball in this ACC strong basketball conference is awesome. I mean, I think I've said it before. This guy, if he doesn't have a statue when he decides to hang it up, we're way off base, because this guy has done everything to do this with this basketball program what you'd want. If we could just get the football program to emulate a snippet of what this guy has done, oh man, I would have so many better Saturdays. The coaching, I feel great about our chances in the dance from Larinaga's standpoint. I think anybody watched the semifinal game where we got outed, it wasn't us losing to the team in blue. It was really, we were playing some extracurricular people, because those ticky-tack fouls on Isaiah Wong were absolutely ridiculous. If you watched the championship game in the ACC championship, it was their big man was allowed to bull right over top of guys. I mean, it was a low-scoring game. They really let them play physical basketball, but why wouldn't they let us play that way when our one best big wasn't even on the court? We were still playing really good, energized, focused basketball, and I think we got robbed, obviously, as a homer, but I think if you watch that game, you could really say that there was a lot of us playing more than just the other opponent. So I like our chances to make a run at this. I really think Miami has got a strong case as far as what it takes to win in March is, good guard play, guys that can shoot, and I think we got a lot of that. And thanks a lot to Coach Larinaga and having these guys hopefully ready and motivated coming off of, I think, a game where we got stolen. And to be honest, if you saw at the end, I don't think Larinaga feels a whole lot differently than we do as probably his fans, because I don't think he was all that congratulatory to the guy that coached the opponents. I think he looked at the guy and shook his hand and did everything right, but I think you could tell he felt a little gypped. So I think he felt a little bit like we got taken. So yeah, I'm excited to see the basketball team.
The Duke situation, you're not going to see any team really in the country, right? If there's 10 McDonald's All-Americans, there are 3, 4 of them, historically, right? We're talking historically, are always going to be at Duke. Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina. Those schools are the basketball schools, right? Syracuse back in the day. That's what that's where they're going to go. Duke starts 2 7-footers, and we know that we can ball with them regardless of being outsized. But talent-wise, Duke is always going to have some of the best talent. Now, does talent always equate to wins? No, it doesn't. But when you have talent, there's really no school in the country that you're going to play that has, and Duke, to their credit, has peaked at the right time. They're going in hot. That's what you want to be doing. But again, you're not going to see many schools, period, in the entire country that have more talent. I don't have that argument with anybody. As much as people love or hate Duke, Duke is always going to get that talent. We know, Mike Krzyzewski aside, I know he retired. That's what it's always going to have that talent. That's just what it is. Unless something drastic happens at Duke. So Miami knows they can play against the best talent in the country and beat up on the best talent in the country. Now, when people love to look at the ACC and say, well, Duke and Carolina aren't having a good year, or Virginia's weird, we don't know what to think of them, even though we still rank them the highest team in the ACC, which is weird to me. They're a great defensive team. They love to punish the ACC for it. Now, there's the bottom of the ACC isn't good. Louisville had their worst season ever. Georgia Tech wasn't that great. Florida State, we know all that stuff. But that shouldn't penalize the teams that were good. And that's like really what it was. They used that to penalize and say, well, nothing can be good. If Duke and North Carolina aren't running away with stuff and these other teams are randomly good, it can't be good. I hate that mindset. I do believe Miami should have been seeded higher, but I'm happy. I'm happy that Duke didn't end up with like a 3 seed in some overreaction, and also that Miami didn't drop to like a 6 in an overreaction to that game. They understood that Miami, look at that, how we played with that without Norchad Omier. Bottom line, though, is like I said, and you reiterated there, if we play with that heart and that defense and we can shoot like we know we can shoot, even if Omier had to miss the first 2 games, if we play with that heart, I like our chances. Now you're going to need him for a stretch run, absolutely, and the chances are he's going to play in some capacity, which is huge in and of itself because he just changes everything being out there. But if you play with that, now again, that's hard to do. It's hard to like not let complacency set in if you're going on a run to overlook a little team that you think you should just walk over. It's hard to do. But Larinaga is the right guy to make sure we don't do that. And especially after going to the Elite Eight last year, having the ACC Player of the Year in Isaiah Wong, this is a team that's ready to make that run and show that this is for real and they want to improve upon what they did last year. And, no time like the present. Go get it done. Go make everybody proud. Go after it. And they can hound and they can shoot. The worst thing that could happen is everybody goes cold. But the bottom line is there's very few better backcourts in the entire country than what Miami can bring to the table. And in the tourney, guard play wins you games. And Miami, ACC Player of the Year, he's preseason pick, first team, and he made the first team. ACC Player of the Year. We know what Isaiah Wong can do. We saw Bensley Joseph get hot against Duke. Wooga Poplar. Obviously, Nigel Pack can shoot from anywhere. It's exciting. I love it. And Jordan Miller's the ultimate X factor in the tournament period. So with that, though, guys, thank you for tuning into Canescast. Listen to us ramble about the Hurricanes. But excited to bring you more content once we get probably past this first round. More basketball content. Fingers crossed we're still playing and we have a Sweet 16 to break down and a first 2 games to recap. As always, thanks for listening to Canescast.
All right, guys. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. I'm Garrett Halsey. To close this out, I just want to invite everybody to, share this stuff with your friends, family members, anybody that you think that likes the Canes. Help them get on their phone, point them to Canescast, hit that subscribe button, like the videos. It really helps to get the word out and, to push this show out to other folks that aren't otherwise going to come across it. If you would do us that small favor, I'd really appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends all about us. And can't wait to see you guys. Hopefully we are talking a couple good wins to get through the round of 32 and then on to some bigger and better things here shortly. And then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about the spring practice when it picks back up after the guys get back from spring break. So thanks again, guys, for tuning in to Canescast. Once again, it's all about the U. See you later.